Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything. It is the Sunday, October 17th edition of the show. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And, college football Week 7 reaction show, recap show, whatever you want to call it. I stayed up too late watching Nevada and Hawaii last night, along with Ole Miss Tennessee. Man, I am telling you, yesterday was bananas, Chris. And it's like this every single week. I mean, it's continuing on. This is just the first half of the season. Before we dive into the actual games, I got a list of the undefeated teams that are left. All right, I'm going to read them off real quick, and I want you to tell me which ones are frauds, okay? We got Cincinnati, SMU, Wake Forest, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Michigan, UTSA, San Diego State, Georgia, and Coastal.
So I need to understand the definition of a fraud, Gary.
A fraud is a team that, had they not had that scheduled thus far in the season, like a team that is more likely going to end with like 3 or 4 losses as opposed to finish the season undefeated.
I don't think any of them end with 4 losses. Not a damn one of these teams end with 4 losses.
You don't think it's possible that Michigan State could end with 4 losses?
Okay, you're using the word possible. Yes. Is it possible? Absolutely. Do I think it'll happen? No.
You know what? I tend to agree. Right. I think these are all, like, at the most, I think we're looking at maybe a 3-loss team. At the worst. Yeah.
None of these teams are losing 4 games. They're not. They're all legitimately good. None of them are frauds in the sense of they're not supposed to be this good.
Hey, so I've got a buddy of mine that was talking about, Jamie Chadwell being the next, whatever coach. Do you think, like, how well do you think he would fit at Nebraska?
I
think he'd fit
this is
really
something
well.
we talk about all the time. I don't give a damn about fit. Can he coach, Gary? Can he recruit? Can he motivate players? And can he design schemes that wins football games?
Well, agreed. But so here's the reason I bring up Nebraska is because what Jamie Chadwell runs is very triple option-ish, right? Like, and if you have the perfect quarterback like they do with Grayson McCall, he could bring back that running game to Nebraska that Scott Frost ain't doing. That's it. This is just off the top of my head. I saw Coastal here as undefeated. I don't think they're going to get beat the rest of the season, like until they get to a bowl game. And so,
let's say there's a world where they might lose in the championship game. I mean, I think Louisiana's pretty damn good. I think they're better than them. I think they'll be favored, and I think they'll win.
And they got to play App on Wednesday. So.
But that App State team is good. They're not special.
I agree.
I have no idea why everybody in the world tried to tell me. I literally have 35 DMs where App State's going to win, App State's going to cover, App State's going to win, App State's going to cover, you're going to miss that one. And at no point in time did App State have a chance to even win the game.
Agreed.
They never had a chance to take the lead.
No, I will tell you why they do that. It's because they had seen Louisiana struggle against South Alabama. It's all recency bias. That's all, because
we all just assume that if you struggled once, you're just never going to be good again.
Exactly.
We watched Auburn play like shit against Georgia State. They're just not a good football team, I guess. Everything else we've seen from them is just bullshit, right?
Yeah, basically. That's where Vegas tricks a lot of people. A lot of people. That line actually moved up on Tuesday night. We're not going to talk about that one. We got a lot more to discuss, so we'll go ahead and dive into it. Go ahead and let you know, winningcureseverything.com is the website. Go ahead and check that out. Everywhere you need to subscribe, everywhere you need to follow, etc., is right there. You can also find both of our shows. I host a college football show for BetUS. Chris hosts the college football show for Sportsbook Review. You can find the links to those actually in the description on this YouTube video or podcast, whichever way you are consuming the product. And, of course, we do appreciate you for doing so. If you would, be so kind to share out the show. I see a bunch of people have already jumped into the comments. Tyrone, the Flying Hawaiian, Antoine, he said, Chris is live. You better believe Chris is live after yesterday. Good gracious. What a hell of a day.
Every Sunday. It's just during the week. I got a damn job.
Oh, man. All right. So, the show is brought to you by BetUS, where the game begins. You can sign up there using the promo code NCAAF2021. It's going to give you a 125% deposit bonus up to $2,500, and it is sportsbook exclusive. Again, I tell you every show, it's a hell of a deal. You better go take advantage of it. That's all I'm saying. There's a link in the description. Go ahead and get signed up there. We still got a long ways to go in football season, and that will help you pad your bankroll to finish out the season. Chris, starting off game number 1 here. What a debacle in Knoxville, Tennessee last night. Ole Miss wins 31, Tennessee 26. This game was already nuts before it got to the end of it. It was a fascinating football game. Two offensive staffs that really, really know each other, right? Jeff Lebby was the offensive coordinator at UCF for Josh Heupel. These are two guys that run the same stuff. They know exactly what they're going to do. The defenses came to play last night. So talking about the game first, Matt Corral, not as great as usual in these spots, especially against a team that we didn't think really had a defense. But he was 21 out of 38, 231 yards. He got baited into his first interception of the season, which is surprising since we are in week 7. But had 2 touchdowns passing. The number that surprised me, 30 carries, 195 yards, man. Like, he was their running game. It was unbelievable. So, cheers to Tennessee for keeping this thing close, for not just keeping it close, but, like, having a shot to win the ball game. Now, before I dive into some of this, I want to get your opinion on everything, the atmosphere, all of it. Tell me what you thought about that game.
I thought it was not the game I was expecting, but still a really good game. Crowd was crazy. Crowd was wild. Atmosphere was great, for the most part. At the end, it all fell apart. Everybody today is going to, and all this week is going to rip Tennessee. They're going to rip Tennessee fans. And I would like to tell all those people, be really, really, really careful.
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm certain that we can go back not really far away and find your team, your fan base doing that.
Right. That's actually
literally going around the internet right now. A bunch of UT fans are sharing out. I think it was from last year's basketball game.
It was 2 years ago, 2019.
2 years ago, where Tennessee went to Ole Miss. Tennessee won the game. A couple of crazy calls went their way, and the fans threw trash on the basketball court, at the players, at the coaches, all this stuff. And now today, all the Ole Miss fans are all sitting high and mighty on their chairs, looking down at Tennessee fans, calling them trash, calling them classless. And I just want to say, this is why I don't call teams cheaters ever whenever they get caught doing something, because I'm under the impression that every fan base, every team is doing this. Every team is bending rules and manipulating regulations to do the exact same thing. Some teams get caught, some teams don't. Okay. Yes. But it doesn't mean you're a cheater. I'm not going to call you a outright cheater. All right. I just don't believe in that, because I think everybody's doing it. Now, if everybody else is playing fair and one team's cheating, that's different. This is not how this works. If every fan base is model citizens all the time and then one is trash, then that's different. We don't have that. We don't live in that world. No. Outside of Vanderbilt, you just will. Every SEC school would have this, and I will guarantee you massive amounts of other schools across the country have had situations like this. I'm not defending it. I don't think it's okay. I think it's nasty. I think it's classless. But it doesn't mean that today is a day that we all just get to take a big shit on Tennessee.
Yes, I agree 100%. I wrote down, Brandon Walker actually tweeted this out last night about 1 a.m. or whatever time it was. He said, dirty little secret, every SEC stadium is capable of having this happen.
Maybe not Vanderbilt. I think it'd be really hard to get Vanderbilt fans that passionate about losing a football game.
If you had Vanderbilt fans super fired up about a season and then a bad call goes against them late in the game, maybe, right? Because I think it is possible if you had a James Franklin-ish year, right? Maybe. But either way, it's not just SEC. It's also just across the globe.
Across the country.
But so I actually wrote down some things that I could remember. LSU, for years and years, was known for just being ruthless, throwing batteries at opposing players, throwing cups.
I've heard this.
No.
I've heard, Gary, I've heard these things. I've heard people say they throw whiskey bottles through the windows. I've been at this point in time where you're talking high school and college days, all right, back in the late 90s, early aughts. I've never once seen it in my life. I've seen us throw trash. I've seen us throw water bottles. I've never seen the battery thing. I think that's a complete and utter myth. I've never seen anybody throw a whiskey bottle through some opposing fan's window. I think that's 100% a myth.
I've never heard about the whiskey bottles through the window thing. I've heard the batteries. I've seen bottles. I've seen all kind of stuff. But also, that's just one of them, right? I also remember Ole Miss 2008 had a bad call go against them in the Alabama game. And they threw shoes, they threw bottles, like liquor bottles, glass liquor bottles down on the field as Alabama fans were, or not fans, as Alabama players were trying to exit the field. I remember Alabama in 2007. Georgia scores a walk-off touchdown in overtime. That was Mark Richt with Matt Stafford and that bunch. Mikey Henderson caught a pass in the back corner of the end zone right in front of the student section, and the Georgia team did a dog pile right there, and they had cups and garbage and all kind of crap that was falling all over them. So this stuff has happened before. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. But I had not seen it to this extent, right? So we did have a couple of guys come in. Ghost Dog said golf balls hurt, lawn darts are worse. The Flying Hawaiian said, have you ever seen blackout SEC students? Ryan said, who takes range balls to football games? So I did have on here, who carries a mustard bottle? Like, how do you get a mustard bottle?
These are people that were tailgating, and they just brought a bunch of shit in. Somebody had it in their purse, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just or they could have gone to the concession stand, I guess. Or
they could have just gotten to the concession stand and just taken it.
There's no telling. Bad officiating. Let's hit on that right quick. There were multiple issues in this game, but it wasn't just this game, because we're going to talk Auburn and Arkansas here in just a little bit. I don't know of any other kind. Like, we have bad officiating across the board in college football, but it is more synonymous with the SEC than anywhere else. How in the world do you reel this thing back in? Right? Like, what do you even do here? I don't know how to fix this problem.
There's nothing you can do, Gary. I mean, what are you talking about? You think these guys are just going to get better at their job? We have this conversation every year. Every year we have this conversation. Last year, I think we had this conversation every week. And we just kept thinking, listen, it's our fault for expecting anything of anybody, okay? Yeah. You just have low expectations of these people. Know that they're not just, and I'm not doing they're only human. No, fuck that, all right? They're pieces of shit that are bad at their job, and they're highly compensated. All right, be better at your damn job. The biggest problem I have with officiating being bad is when you know you made a bad call and somebody is explaining to you how you missed it, you have to find a way to correct that. Like, you can't, these guys get their ego. It's just like umpires, just like everybody else. They all have these huge egos, and they don't want to change their mind because they think that will make them look worse, when actually it will make them look a lot better if they just said, you know what, I got that wrong, we're going to reverse this call.
Yeah, I agree. Larry jumped in. He said SEC fans are super passionate, and it isn't close. He's not wrong. I don't know that you would get this out of a lot of Pac-12 games, but you also might not get it out of a lot of Pac-12 games because there's just not as many people there that are fired up about their team. Like, this was SEC's or Tennessee's coming out party, and this stuff is going to happen. What did you think about the faking injuries thing? I don't know that there were as many fake injuries in that. If you go back and look, they ran over 190 plays between the two teams. Even with the lower temperatures, you run that many plays, man, especially because Ole Miss had a bunch of guys that were out, so you had guys that were playing every single snap. Yeah, some of those I think were actual like cramp injuries. So even if they weren't, this is just part of the game. Until they find a way to enforce penalties on something like this, you can't stop somebody from faking an injury. So do you have any thoughts?
Stop them, but can I not like it? Can I call them out on it?
Yeah, we can,
because I don't
do
like
that.
it. I don't like, and I'm a consistent across the board. When my team does it, I think it's bullshit. When other teams do it, I think it's bullshit. Like, I understand it's a manipulation of the rule and we need to change the rule. I know they'll never change the rule. They'll absolutely never change it. And I really don't even know how to appropriately change it. That's the biggest problem, because at some point in time, you are going to end up penalizing a team for having a legitimate injury. And so I don't know the answer to that. All right. But I do know that it's bullshit, and we've got to find a way to stop it.
Yeah. No, it got a little out of hand in Knoxville last night between both of the teams. I've never seen a Tennessee.
Well, the spot on the fourth down play was complete and utter bullshit. And then did you see the screenshot of the referee that called the spot and where he was coming from and how he's the one that's supposed to determine where that spot was?
Yes.
I mean, he was 35 yards downfield away from the play, running towards it. How in the hell do you know where to spot the football?
And they
what
don't.
Angle do you have?
There's no way
why
that he
are we
had a
not
better
reviewing
angle.
that? Why are we not saying you're not allowed to make that call? We're going to let something else make that call.
So this is another thing that we need to figure out is why, with all the technology that we have today, why in the world are we letting terrible like camera angles and refs coming from 35 yards away decide where a ball is supposed to be spotted? Like, where did he get the ball to?
Has anybody watched tennis in a long time? I know that's not like a big sport that people who are football guys usually watch. Okay. But tennis has this figured out, and they figure it out in seconds. You're talking like 90 seconds. They figure this shit out because they have the entire place gridded out electronically.
Yeah. And it's microchipped.
This is not that complicated of a thing. This is not a very hard problem to solve. It's a problem that football has refused to solve openly. And they say we like the human. They use all these old bullshit reasons for doing it. You know what? I still like cooking with fire. Okay. But it doesn't mean it's the only way you should be cooking all of your food. All right.
Yeah.
It's the 21st century, damn it. Like, let's do something different. We have so many cameras around. The fact that they get some of the shittiest camera angles, like, how is that possible?
Larry jumped in and said, put a camera on the down marker. That is not going to solve all of these. Like, it's just not, because from the backside of where he was reaching that ball, there was a defender in front of where the ball was. You're not going to be able to see it every time. So there's other things, the microchipping, the gridding it out.
Have to do it the way. Yeah, listen, I know nobody in football wants to take tips from tennis. All right, that's just like the anti-football thing to do. But that's what we should be doing, by the way. We should go to smarter, more intelligent people and say, "How did you fix this problem?" Okay, and why did you fix it this way? Because you were tired of people screaming and hollering and losing their shit over 15 minutes of arguing about something that the official's not going to change their mind on. But also, you're talking of millions and millions of dollars being swung in value. Yes. Right? And I'm not talking about gambling. I'm talking about winning football games and what it matters to schools, to programs, to teams, to coaches, to athletic departments. I'm talking about how much money every call is actually worth. All right. And the fact that we just refuse to do things where we know we could get it right if we wanted to, because we just have our ways about us. Fuck those ways.
Ryan McCracken said all the tech in the world would make that a first down. I don't know about that. It was really, really close. I will say that. I mean, who knows? He had the ball. He didn't extend the ball. He should have extended the ball. Like,
hang on. If you've got clear evidence, okay, if you've got clear evidence that it wasn't a first down, you don't have the scene afterwards. Not defending it. I'm not saying it was okay, but if we had the technology, if we use the technology, we have the technology. If we use the technology to fix it, we wouldn't have had the problem last night. Tennessee fans could have been very pissed off, been very upset, but they would have been very upset for different reasons, and it wouldn't have been blaming the refs. It wouldn't have been blaming somebody doing something that doesn't favor them.
Yes, I'm with you. All right, we have spent a long time on this game. We could spend another hour just specifically on this game because of all the stuff that went on with it. But let's get a move on. Let's move over to the Big Ten. Purdue, 24, Iowa 7 And the Boilermaker nightmare continues for the Hawkeyes. They are now 1-4 straight up in their last 5 against Jeff Brom's bunch. That stat blew my mind.
That was wild. I didn't know that, by the way. When I picked Iowa to win and cover 11, I had no clue.
Styles make fights, man. Like sometimes sometimes it's just a bad matchup for whatever reason. And Purdue, as bad as they have been recently, they just have Iowa's number for whatever reason.
Some of this is remember when Jeff Brom first got there? I thought, man, that was one of the best hires in the country. I think that guy's an offensive genius.
Yeah.
And he's had a couple of games like this that were really special. And then it's just like when he's not having these games, man, he struggles to get anything out of his team. And it's just really strange because when that team is on, I love Jeff Brom football. I love that style. I love everything about what he does as a coach.
He has dealt with a lot of injuries and all that. We thought we'd see a lot more of Rondale Moore.
We're talking over years, man.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Not this year.
No. His quarterback is. I will tell you this. This is the best defense that he has had there, and it is not close. George Karlaftis is an absolute beast. Here's the numbers on Aiden O'Connell, by the way. That vaunted Iowa defense let him throw 30 out of 40 for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns. And my brother, we have talked in the past about this wide receiver, David Bell 11 catches for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns.
No, nobody talks about this kid nearly enough. And we don't talk about this kid nearly enough. So that's on us. So we have a show, we have a platform, and we don't do it. He's special. He's special. He's been special for years. This is not a 2021 thing. This guy's been special for a while, man.
Oh, very much so. He's not special in every game. I mean, my God, this team put up 13 points on Minnesota. Like, they got beat at home.
And Illinois.
And Illinois. And
Minnesota. They had 3 Big Ten games in a row. I don't remember the third team, but none of them are impressive. Might have been Rutgers. None of them are very good. They scored 13 points in all 3 games.
Oh, one of them was Notre Dame. Tyrone said, "Will this help? Will this win help Notre Dame?" I don't know what this win means for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame just needs to keep winning. That's all I think. Because Purdue is still not like a great football. I mean, what are we talking about?
It can't hurt Notre Dame. It can't hurt.
No, it can't hurt them. Absolutely not. But I don't know that it means anything for Notre Dame at this point. I mean, Purdue still got 3 losses on the season. So I don't know.
No, they've only got 2. I'm looking at them now: Minnesota and Notre Dame.
Are those the only 2 losses?
Those are the only 2 losses they got.
I thought they had one early. They beat Oregon State early in the year. Okay,
they beat Oregon State week 1.
Okay,
they got a couple good wins now.
Maybe.
That helps NotreAme. But the people shitting on Notre Dame for no ungodly reason, it's beyond me. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
Are we shit? Did I shit on Notre Dame?
Yes, you shit on Notre Dame. Yes, you shit on Notre Dame.
No, I'm just saying I don't think that this game necessarily matters. It just depends on what Notre Dame does.
I'm not talking about what you just said. I'm talking about all year. Not a very good football team. Not a very good football team. Oh, they've lost one game. One game to one of the best teams in the country.
Who's probably going to be number 2 in the rankings this week.
Yeah. So let's be real careful about just shitting on them.
Okay. I'm good with that. We all knew that this was not sustainable for Iowa. The offense has not been good enough to warrant a number 2 ranking, but the rankings are very much what is it worth, right? Like, what have you done thus far this season? Who have you beaten? And do you deserve a ranking, right? This is not a rating metric that the AP puts out there. This is who deserves to be ranked this high. And at this point in the season, before yesterday, Iowa did deserve to be ranked number 2 in the country. Now, you can go back and look at everything that they've done and realize, that offense needs a whole lot of help from that defense, and when they cannot get turnovers or when the offense is turning the football over, it don't go well, right? Purdue is not a national title contender. Iowa also, I don't believe, is a national title contender. However, they still only have 1 loss. They still have everything in front of them, and the schedule sets up brilliantly for them the rest of the way. But they can get beat by anybody on this schedule if Spencer Petras throws 4 interceptions like he did yesterday.
But any team can get beat if you throw 4 interceptions.
Oh, yeah. And what's crazy is it wasn't the interceptions that led to the points for Purdue. Purdue went on long, sustained drives. They kept the football away from Iowa. Like, it was a masterclass of offense by Jeff Brom and that bunch because they knew it was going to be tough to score on them, and they found all of the different things that would hurt Iowa. And it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I was a little shocked at how one-sided the game was. I thought Purdue had a shot to win. I did not think that it would be like this. So let's move into the Big 12 right quick. And, brother, is the Gundy gang actually good? Like,
yes.
Are we?
Didn't we say that before the season started?
And so so 32-24, Oklahoma State gets the win over Texas. I still don't know what to make of it because if Texas had not shot themselves in the foot time after time after time, there was a point in this game where they could have been up like 35-10. Like they gave points to Oklahoma State that kept them in the ball game and shot themselves in the foot and cost themselves points. I don't know. Like I don't think Texas.
You and I just see football differently all the time.
Okay.
All the time. Because you never give the other team credit for doing something.
No, but I'm talking about penalties.
Didn't take those points. Oklahoma State didn't take those points. They didn't cause those mistakes.
So okay, maybe we do a little bit. Because I look at it as
you always see it as one team is supposed to be good. So if anything good happens to the team that's not supposed to be as good, then they just got lucky. The other team just gave it away. You have this hierarchy of who's supposed to be good and who's not all the time. And it drives me insane. You don't ever give the other team credit for taking the ball away, for making the stops, for making the big defensive plays, for putting the pressure on them, for taking advantage of the mistakes the other team has. How in the world is Oklahoma State anything but one of the most exciting and great teams right now? They played a gauntlet.
Okay.
They went to Boise. That's a tough place to play.
It is.
They came away with the win. Do they look impressive all the time? No. Are they getting wins every week? And some of them now racking up against good teams?
That's
absolutely. True. Look at that Baylor win. That's a hell of a damn win.
No, it's absolutely a hell of a win. Absolutely. Larry jumped in and said pick six was the turn. Easy pick six was almost a gift. It's not just the pick six. It's the penalties on the drives that extend drives that would have been stopped. It's different things along those lines, right? It's the offense just making bad throws. Casey Thompson did not look good in this ballgame. A lot of that is the defense, yes, and I have given them credit.
This is the first time he's played a good defense since. Well, he's played a good defense the entire year. That's it, because he wasn't the starter against Arkansas. But that's it. Imagine that. He's looked amazing when they play teams that don't play defense. That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When they play somebody who actually hits you in the face, he crumbled.
So I will tell you this. Oklahoma State kind of wore them out throughout the game. They ran for like 150 yards in the fourth quarter.
Isn't that what this team does now?
Yeah, it kind of is. It is so strange. Like they
built this team like an SEC football team.
Yes.
An old school SEC football team.
Yes, it is unreal. Spencer Sanders did not make the crippling interception that sometimes he is known to make. He looked good. He just stayed within himself, didn't do anything crazy. The coaching staff, credit to them, did not ask him to do anything that he could not do. And that is the sign of a great coaching staff and a really good football team.
There's no reason they shouldn't look great the rest of the season because there's not a great defense they're going to play left on the schedule. There's not a team where defensively they should give this offense any problems at all.
They still got to play Iowa State next week in Ames.
I don't think Iowa State's defense is that great, by the way.
Really?
No. I think they're good. I don't think they're great.
Yeah,
I don't think they're better than Baylor's defense.
I could maybe side with that. So they've got Iowa State, they've got Kansas, at West Virginia, TCU, Texas Tech, and then, of course, Bedlam on the last weekend, November 27th.
None of those defenses scare me. I think this offense won't make mistakes to cost them games, so if their defense can play as good as they have, all those games are winnable. I don't think they will win all of them. I think all those games are winnable.
Yes, I do agree with you. I think at this point in the season, they were number 12. I think they're moving up. I think they're going to be a top 10 team.
I'm a top 10 team. You think they'll move up 2 points because they're still undefeated? They just won in Austin.
No, I'm
they're going to move up.
I'm thinking, 8, 7. I mean, they deserve to be way up there.
Can you not justify them being in the top 5?
I think I probably could.
Name 5 teams that have a better resume than them.
Oh, I can't find one. They got to win over Kansas State, Boise, Baylor, Texas. I mean, they just beat 3 top 25 teams in a row.
Yep.
And that doesn't include Boise.
Not another team has them. I'm not saying make them number 1 in the country, but if you can't get them to the top 5, the whole ranking system's bullshit. Because what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about your boys. LSU 49, Florida 42. This was shocking, I guess you could say, but in a way, maybe it wasn't. I said on the BetUS show, everything points Florida. All the injuries, all the stats, everything points Florida. There's only going to be 70,000 LSU fans in the stands at this one. It's not a raucous home field environment. It's all this different stuff, right? And yet, we had the same damn situation last year when they went to Gainesville, when everything was looking against them, and they went into Gainesville with 40-something scholarship players and won against a top 5, I think at the time, Florida football team that was headed to the SEC championship game. I don't know what to make of this. Like, I will tell you this. It is really, really nice to have a week where we are not talking about when Coach O is going to be fired. Yeah. And instead, we're talking about the other side where we got to figure out what Dan Mullen's doing. And it's Todd Grantham that maybe should have been fired at the end of last season.
We're back into the days of third and Grantham, aren't we?
Very much so. So the numbers here, Tyrion Davis-Price, by the way, LSU single-game rushing record, had 287 yards on 36 carries. That's 8 yards a clip. But on top of that, like, Florida's defense had been pretty good against the run. And LSU had, 327 yards? I think I saw this. 327 yards in the previous 4 games. Yeah. They had 321 in this game alone. That is damning. Just damning. Like, there's nothing that you could tell me that would have made me believe before this game that LSU would be able to do this. And yet,
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There was nothing from the LSU side. This was not coaching. This was not scheming. This was not any of that. This was men deciding we're resetting the season. We are tired of the way we have looked. We are tired of the embarrassment that we've been. It's time to put all that behind us and just go outplay somebody. Just go be bigger, stronger, faster than somebody else. Go hit somebody that's in front of you, push them to the ground, and just impose your will on them. And that's exactly what they did. They did it the entire game. So I'm really proud of LSU and the performance that they had. Unbelievable. The question that I've got to ask is what in the hell is going on with Dan Mullen? And it's simply this. Dan Mullen, the Florida football team leads the SEC going into that game and running for football, right?
Yes.
They ran the ball on everybody, and they lead the SEC in rushing the ball.
Well, led the country.
Why didn't they run the football against us? He comes out throwing the ball, and they turn the ball over 4 times, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? Kentucky ran it right down our throat last week. Everybody that's played us, that's given us problems or that's beating us up, ran the ball down our throat week in and week out. Why are you, the best rushing team in the country, not running the football on us? Why are you coming out trying to throw it on a team that everybody's running on? What are you thinking there? What is your?
I don't have an answer.
I don't either. I'm damn glad he did it, but I don't understand it.
They ran the ball 35 times for 138 yards, only 3.9 per clip. It's mind-boggling. Emory Jones ran it 10 times for 16 yards. Anthony Richardson ran 7 times for 37 yards. Naquan Wright, 8 for 34 yards. Damian Pierce, 5 for 24. They never gave anybody an opportunity to really get going. And part of it was they weren't stopping LSU, and they were giving easy points early, but they were throwing early. That's what got them in the hole to begin with, was they were giving the ball away. Emory Jones with 3 interceptions was, just damning. Like, it just ridiculous. At this point, at Florida, you've got 3 losses. You absolutely have to stop the Emory Jones experiment because he's had 3 years. Like, he's had 3 years to prep to be in this position, and he's not good. You have got to start Anthony Richardson. You got to start AR-15 going forward.
I love Anthony. I love Anthony Richardson, too.
Yes.
I think that kid is a star. I think he's really good, and I don't know why he's not getting more touches.
Did you see his tweet after, or not his tweet, his post-game comments afterwards? And I'll have to say, it's somebody said, like, should you be starting or whatever the question was, somewhere around there. And he was like, I don't know. We'll just have to see going forward. It was basically him saying, like, you better start me or I'm leaving. Yeah. Like, I deserve this role. And it's very similar to what is going on at Oklahoma, right?
But hang on, I think he's right.
He is right.
Football is supposed to be a meritocracy. It is supposed to be the one place where race, religion, economic status, political views, all of this stuff goes away. Seniority, everything goes out the window. And we have 50-something, 60-something football teams, 80-something men in the locker room. And you owe it to all of them, the rest of them, to start the best players, okay? You owe it to everybody that's working really hard to do the job, to win football games and to compete every week. You owe it to all of them to put the best people out there, the most deserving people on the field, all right? That's your number one responsibility as a coach, is to make sure that no outside bias influences come into play here, and you just start the best players. I don't know why these coaches are getting too cute with this. If you've got somebody better than someone else, why is Lincoln Riley afraid of Spencer Rattler transferring out? Why is he scared of that? The guy can't play football and be really good at it. We've watched him. You have one of the most quarterback-friendly offenses in the world, and he's not very good. Emory Jones has had signs of being good, but Dan Mullen is one of the most quarterback-friendly coaches in the country, and the other guy's better. Why are you afraid of him leaving? Where can he go where you think he can snake bite you?
You got me. I don't know. Hey,
you
by
think
the way,
he's going to transfer to South Carolina and their offensive coaching staff is better than you? You think they're going to get something out of him that you couldn't get?
I will tell you.
What are you scared of?
I will tell you what some people are scared of, and it's what happened to James Franklin in Kinnick Stadium last week, and that is you've got 2 guys that are pretty good. You want to try and make both of them happy. When one of them leaves and you don't have the other guy that's behind him prepped and he's not ready to play, it can cost you a game, right? That's the issue. But it can cost you a game like this one if you're Dan Mullen, if you don't start the right guy from the very beginning. So,
yeah,
what are you going to do? Hey, the Flying Hawaiian jumped in, said, like the video, guys. Yes, we've got more people watching than have liked the video. So go ahead and like the video for us, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We do this every Sunday. For those that are coming in from Chicago and whatnot that heard me on Friday morning with Jonathan Hood, we appreciate you being here. We talked a lot about our Sunday recap show on that. So, yes, we are glad that you guys are here. Josh jumped in, said, go Tigers. Ghost Dog jumped in, said, LSU and Florida showed me they got no defense. And Modest Cowboy said, Ed O knows how to get his team motivated. Really impressive. I don't even know that it was necessarily Coach O. I think this was a team that was tired of being embarrassed. That's what I think.
Some of it is Coach, and Coach O's got to get some credit here. The best thing, I'm going to tell you the best thing that came out of Tiger Stadium. Now, I don't know. This is the thing that makes me the happiest. I don't know if it's true either. It is absolutely a rumor. But the rumor is that after this game, him and Woodward sat down and had a long talk, and they basically negotiated a lesser buyout for him to leave at the end of the season, and he gets to finish the season no matter what else happens. And there's a trust factor of, I trust you with this program. I trust you to do the right thing. But also, we want to leave this thing in the right way, because we want Coach O to always be able to come back to Tiger Stadium and be heralded as a hero and not be remembered for this season or last season. We want to be able to celebrate in 10 years the 2019 season. and bring those players back and bring those coaches back and him and Joe Brady and Joe Burrow and Steve Emziger and all those guys, and to celebrate and cheer them on again. And if they leave in, tumultuous ways, you're just not going to get that.
Yeah, it's very tough to do that.
I hope that rumor is true, because that's how I want this relationship to end. I want it to them to separate ways in situations where we understand everybody's okay here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. All right, let's move on from there. We'll kind of start going quicker on some of these. Auburn 38, Arkansas 23. Bo Nix, I'm not going to apologize for the things that I have said before, because he deserved all of it. He played horribly the last 2 seasons, and people still thought, oh, he's one of the best quarterbacks. He was not. He absolutely was not. However, massive improvements this season, and he was awesome against the Hogs yesterday. Props to Brian Harsin and Mike Bobo for being able to develop him. And
did anybody think Mike Bobo had that in him still?
I'll be honest, no.
I didn't either. By the way, I didn't know anything about Harsin, so I can't speak to that. I didn't think Bobo had this anyway. When they made that hire as an OC, I thought, well, we've seen him in the SEC for a while, and he hadn't done anything special.
Nope, you are 100% correct.
He's done some special this year.
Oh, yes. Bo Nix, 21 out of 26, 2 touchdowns, 292 yards, and 1 interception. Josh said he plays well on the road. Yeah, that's the biggest change. Is he has always been Bo Picks on the road. He's been awful on the road. And this year, thus far, at LSU, at Arkansas, even at Penn State, he has played really well. This was not the Tank Bigsby show or anything like that. This wasn't the ground game that got them this win. I will say this. So I watched a lot of this game yesterday, and there were some big officiating. We talked about it with the Ole Miss game. There was some big officiating stuff in this. But I don't know that any of it was so overwhelming that it took Arkansas out of the game. Arkansas had plenty of opportunities here to win this football game, and I think this team finally just ran out of gas. They have been against a gauntlet from the word go this season, and they just do not have the depth required to be able to compete week in and week out all season long against a schedule like this. I mean, if you look at who they have played at Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, now you got to come home to face off against Auburn. I mean, it's tough. It is a gauntlet in the SEC West, and they were going through it. It should be a little easier on the back half, but man, Fayetteville was rocking. This was a hell of a crowd. They put up a hell of a fight, and they were in it until the very end. And Auburn surprised me, very much surprised me. I thought that this team was not very good this year. This one is the one that kind of turned the corner for me. Did you have a feeling on this one?
Yeah, I still like Arkansas. I still think the way that listen, we now are looking at them from a different lens.
Yes.
And so we're using words like frauds and things like that. Remember, how can somebody be a fraud when they came into the season and people thought they would struggle to win 4 games?
Agreed.
And you know what I'm saying? And now because they've lost a couple of games, they've lost some of them ugly. Now they're frauds. Well, really? I don't understand that. Auburn just outplayed them. Bo looked magical. Bo looked like he looked at Baton Rouge. He just was pulling stuff out of his ass that you just didn't think was capable of doing.
Yeah, I'm with you. The toughest part of Arkansas' schedule, by the way, already gone. They play Arkansas Pine Bluff, then they've got a bye week. They play Mississippi State at home. They've got at LSU. They do have at Alabama, and then they close with Missouri. So, they're sitting at 4-3 right now. I think.
But if they can win 3 out of those 5 games, that's a 7-win season for a team that I think their over/under coming into the season was 4.5.
No, it was 5.5. 5.5.
Okay.
But still, that's impressive.
You know what I'm saying? This is. It really bothers me when people are now calling them frauds. Like,
Yeah, not
really?
frauds. This was always going to be the toughest part of the schedule, and the fact that they got the win over A&M, they got the win over Texas.
Huge win.
Yes, you still got plenty of shots later on in this season to get big wins as well. The program's headed in the right direction, and Auburn, it showed in this one, they have got the program headed in the right direction as well. So this is I will tell you this: the last half of this season is going to be a lot of fun in the SEC. A lot of fun. Keeping on the SEC, let's talk Georgia and Kentucky right quick. Not a whole lot to say about this one. Georgia won 30-13. It was 14-7 at the half, and Kentucky's offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, brought out everything in this one. I'm talking all the shifts, all the motions, all the trips to the left, trips to the right, all the different kind of cockamamie stuff, running, wide receivers out of the running back position and tight ends and running post route, like all kinds of crazy stuff in this ball game. And that long drive, what was it, like a 20-play drive or whatever they had that got them their touchdown in the first half?
Yeah,
that was his masterpiece. I don't think they ever expected to win the game, but I think that they wanted to prove that they could put up points on this defense and that they were going to at least hang in the game and make Georgia uncomfortable, and they did for a long portion of this ball game. So props to Mark Stoops and what he's doing. He is still, they're 6-1 right now. He is going to get a lot of looks at other places. I don't know that if I were him, I would leave Kentucky because I think that he is a god there at this point. There are very reasonable expectations at Kentucky that you will not find at some of these other big places.
Yeah, but if you have a chance to go somewhere and win a national title, that's different.
Right. It depends on what you want to do, right?
Because I don't think you can win a national title at Kentucky.
Oh, I agree.
Not
100%.
right now, at least.
No,
so you can be great. You can be really, really good. But that's the issue is do you think you can win a title? Because if you can go somewhere and win a title, and let's say you get would you rather, I ask you this, would you rather be at a place like Kentucky and when you're done, have them build a statue to you and you be a god and a legend there, but never win a title, never even win an SEC title, never even make it to Atlanta, or go to a place like LSU. I'm not saying he's going to take the LSU or USC or someplace like that. Those are the jobs that are going to be open that we know of, and be there for 4 years, 5 years, win a championship, and then 2 years after that, be ran out on a rail.
See, that is really difficult. He has been at Kentucky since 2013. He is at 55-51 overall before this season. So what does that make him? No. That includes the season. Okay. I think he's 54 years old. I think I would probably want to go try and win a national title.
I think so too.
Especially because of his family, right? Like
Bob. Here's the other argument.
Like Bob has a title.
You can always go back. Like you don't think if you got ran out of rail out of LA, let's say he becomes a new USC coach and he wins a title, and then 3 years after winning the title, they run his ass out of town. Okay. You don't think he could pick up the phone and call Kentucky and say, hey, he couldn't pull a Petrino and just say, hey, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have left.
You know what? It's very possible. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, if I were him, I'd probably give it a shot. He's not like super young. He's not, whatever. I would. He's made all the money that he needs to make. I think if I had the opportunity to go try and do that, like if he were offered the LSU job,
because very very few people in the world are going to have national championships.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, at LSU, we have seen like Coach O won a title, Les Miles won a title. Neither of those is as well regarded as a X's and O's guy, a development guy, as Mark Stoops. So
all the people that are out there saying Lane would never leave for LSU, Ole Miss, listen, be real careful about what you say and think about it. Take your fan hat off and look at logic. One team has never made it to Atlanta, never even won the West. And the other team has won 3 titles over 20 years with 3 different coaches, 2 of which are nationally seen as incompetent.
Yes.
How do you argue with saying, I think I'll go try that?
Hey, you can't. I don't think you can. Ghost Dog said Kentucky offense did everything they could and they scored 13 points. Go Dogs. Well, let's be real careful here because Florida, who just gave up 49 to what was regarded as an incompetent LSU offense. Florida held Kentucky to only 13 offensive points. So, let's not go crazy here. But, yes, it was an incredible performance by Georgia for sure. I want to move to the Pac-12 for a little bit, and I want us to kind of start rolling here.
Yeah,
Utah.
we need to roll. I got to
go. Utah, what time you got to be out?
No, I don't have a hard out. We just need to go.
I got you.
I got shit to do.
Utah 35, Arizona State 21. Utah outscored Arizona State 28-0 in the second half. Utah scored on all 4 of their second half drives, and Arizona State had punt, missed field goal, punt, end of game. Like, this was as efficient as you can possibly get. It was beautiful by the Utes. They look like the dominant team in the Pac-12 South. And now you got to start paying attention to their matchup against UCLA. You got to pay attention to their matchup against Oregon. But they are in a position right now where they look like, with Cam Rising at quarterback, this is the best team in the Pac-12 South. Maybe the best team in the Pac-12. Did you watch any of this last night?
Watched a lot of it. I'm trying to figure out why did it take them so long to get going.
So I think there were some issues.
Because this game was 21-7 for a long time.
It was. I thought you were talking about just on the season period.
No, I'm talking about this game. Why did Cam Rising look like shit in the first half?
That's a great question, and I don't have a good answer.
He looked bad. So if he's going to be a one-half quarterback, that's great. Sometimes that ain't going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
You're not going to get many opportunities where your defense is going to hold somebody to nothing for you to score 28 unanswered.
Yeah.
That's my problem. That's my fear. I thought he looked really good. I thought the second half was amazing. I'm trying to figure out why this offense can't get going earlier than that. Why were they just completely inept the first half?
So Larry said coaching adjustments. Cam is nervous. It's only his third start.
He was nervous at home?
Yeah, I don't find the nervousness thing. I will say this, that Arizona State, very physical team, very intimidating team, but I did not think it would take that long for him to get rolling. Like, I'll say that. I didn't think that it would take that long. But either way, they got it rolling. I mean, they were at home. They took care of what they needed to take care of. Not a ton of mistakes in the first half. It was just Arizona State was the better football team in the first half.
They just couldn't get first downs.
Yeah.
They're just three and out. I mean, offense looked awful.
So this sets up well for Utah, and sets up well for my over 8.5 ticket that I'm holding right now for the season, because I thought that thing was deader than hell. But Utah looks good thus far. Moving on to the next one, the Caleb Williams show in Norman last night. Good Lord, I had that on one of my TVs. And Caleb Williams, 18 out of 23 for 295 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He had 9 carries for 66 yards and 1 touchdown. Kennedy Brooks, now that Caleb Williams is the quarterback, Kennedy Brooks is a monster at running back for them. Had 20 carries for 153 yards, 1 touchdown. My question out of this game wasn't so much about Oklahoma, because now, like, once they have a competent quarterback in there,
yes, like,
we know what we're going to get from that Oklahoma offense week in and week out. My question is, what in the world, and we ask it every week, it feels like, what's going on with TCU's defense? Like, the offense has been good enough. Max Duggan, 20 out of 30 passing, 346 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had 8 carries for 45 yards. And the wide receiver, Quentin Johnson, 7 catches, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns. That should be enough for a TCU team, for a Gary Patterson team to win with. If you got a quarterback that is slanging for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, you ought to be able to win a game. And they've done it multiple times this year. Max Duggan has looked great this season. This defense is atrocious.
Yeah, they're bad.
I don't know what to make of it. And I have tried watching this team. I'm buddies with guys that cover TCU, and they can't figure this out. Like, this defense on paper is supposed to be the best one that they have had ever under Gary Patterson, and he cannot get them working right. Like, I know that they've got some injury issues and whatnot, but I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I mean, you got a thought on this one?
No, I mean, it's just they're not good. On paper, they're supposed to be good. Okay, cares? Like, they haven't been good all year. Why are we surprised? Like, if they came out and they held them to 13 points, I'd be shocked as shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, them giving up 50 points doesn't surprise me because they've done it all year. This is who they are. It's what they do. At what point are we going to stop being surprised by things that we've seen over and over and over again? That's weird. Like, I don't get that.
Well, I think the thing that I'm surprised about is that it has not improved, right? We're to the midway part of the season. How are they going to get better, Gary? How are they going to get better? If they're not good, how are they going to get better? Well, we just saw what LSU did against Florida, and I don't know.
No, you saw a kitchen sink game. Jesus Christ.
Maybe. I don't know.
And you also saw a team that came in that did something exactly the opposite of what they were have done all year.
True.
Okay.
True. Larry Pilgrim said Cal put a 30 burger on TCU at home. Enough said. Yeah, no, you ain't wrong about that. Ain't wrong about that. Let's see. Michigan State 20, Indiana 15. I only put this one in here. We don't have to spend long on it, but Michigan State absolutely did not deserve to win this football game, and yet they found a way to win it. 12 penalties, turnovers, just didn't look good, and yet Indiana was not able to capitalize on it at all. Jack Tuttle, actually relatively impressive in this game. I had this one on as well yesterday, and I think the fact that Michigan State can find ways to win, even when Kenneth Walker III is bottled up, even when Peyton Thorne isn't having his best day, whatever, and the defense is but it's bend don't break. Like, Michigan State impressed me, I think, more in a close win on the road here than in some of those bigger wins that they had early in the season. You kind of feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, they just fought through a game where they played poorly and still were able to win. This is why I like this team. When you don't commit penalties, when you don't turn the football over, and when you just keep playing defense, just keep playing football, but not making mistakes, even when you're playing badly, you're still in games. This is why I like this team. This is why I continue to bet this team. This is why I continue to pick this team over and over and over again. I know they're not going to beat themselves.
Yeah. And now they almost did yesterday because of all the penalties, but they cleaned it up towards the end of the game, figured out what they needed to do to win, and did it. And it was impressive. Mel Tucker, week after week, impresses me. He's building something pretty strong there. So cheers to them. Baylor 38, BYU 24. So Dave Aranda and Jeff Grimes, we've said it week after week, just incredible coaching job. What they have done from last season to this season has been not miraculous, but insanely impressive. And BYU, what has happened to the Cougars in the last couple of weeks? Is it just they are playing better teams, or?
Well, I mean, they played Utah early on. They played Boise early on. I mean, they lost the Boise game.
Yeah, they lost. They beat Arizona State.
Arizona State. I mean, they've beaten good teams. It's not that they're playing better teams now.
It surprised me that Baylor was able to handle them as easily. Like, I expected this game to be lower 20s, maybe 3-4 point game. And
I did not expect Baylor's offense to look as good as Baylor's offense looked over the last couple of weeks.
Yes. I thought after the first 3 weeks, because after the first 3 weeks of that, or first 3 drives of the Iowa State game for Baylor, they also, I'm counting that against Oklahoma State because they looked awful against Oklahoma State, but they looked awful for the rest of the game against Iowa State. So I thought people had kind of figured out their offense. And maybe Baylor is just like really damn good. I think that's a possibility at this point. Friday night game. I want to hit on that one. Clemson 17, Syracuse 14. I had to bring up Dino. Syracuse was able to run the football on these guys. Like, Syracuse was averaging 9 yards a carry in the first half here. They only had 7 points, but I'm not so much. Larry said BYU's losing because of depth. Try telling their fans, but nobody listens. I don't. Maybe. Clemson at Pitt next week. Yikes, because Clemson still cannot score. They shoot themselves in the foot too many times. I thought the Clemson offense looked better in this game. If I'm not mistaken, you were watching this on Friday along with, it was the Red Sox game on Friday night. Is that right?
Yeah, I had both games going.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about this in the group chat a little bit. Clemson's offense looked a little bit better, and yet they still shot themselves in the foot too many times. I don't know what to make of it, right? Because Syracuse, I think, is an improved football team. I don't know that Dino's going to get fired after this year. I think we all expected that was an inevitability. And instead, this is a pretty good football team. You kind of feel the same?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're a good team. They should have won that game. I didn't like the play calling at the end.
Agreed.
I think they could have done that a whole lot better. I was not a fan, but neither here nor there. They played with Clemson. I don't think Clemson's offense looked any better. I just don't think Syracuse's defense is very good. So.
That's yeah. I mean, you may not be wrong about that. They were moving the football and then they stopped. So Pittsburgh 28, Virginia. No. Sorry, Washington State 34, Stanford 31. Washington State came back and won this damn ball game. That is 3 straight for Nick Rolovich and that bunch. And so we'll talk about the game. Jaden DeLaura and let's see. Oh, Max Borghi. Excuse me. I didn't write his name down. Those two are super exciting, and you can win a ton of football games with guys like that when you have a masterful game plan like they had, right? I did not watch the majority of this game. My reaction to it is Washington State can be a really good football team with Nick Rolovich, much like they were with Mike Leach. And now there's all the chaos that might be happening on Monday because Monday is the deadline to figure out his religious exemption and whatever for him getting the jab. And not to be political or whatever, but do you really think that there is any way that they will fire this guy in the middle of a 3-game winning streak here?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
Like I know that this has nothing to do with football.
I know what the state of Washington is like. I'm going to bet the area of Pullman. I'm going to bet that area ain't like Seattle.
Agreed.
I'm gonna bet the boosters and the people that run things at Washington State. Now I could be very wrong. I'm gonna bet they're very different.
It's a different world in Pullman, Washington. I will tell you that. Very, very interesting stuff. Right quick, we're not going to spend an hour and a half. We're going to try and wrap some of these up. Pitt 28, Virginia Tech 7. My question here is Justin Fuente. What the hell? What are you doing? Like this Pitt, their defense has not been great all season. Now, I guess we can expect like a good showing out of a Pat Narduzzi defense at some point. Whenever during the season, you can find it somewhere. But this is a team that gave up 44 points to Western Michigan, and Virginia Tech put up 7 points in this game. And I know that it was a bit of a hangover because they were in that Notre Dame game and they thought they were going to be able to win that one. But this was awful. Like 224 yards of offense for Virginia Tech in this game. They only had the ball for 21 minutes. They could not sustain drives. They were not successful at all. And Pitt, on the other side, ran the ball. Like 208 yards rushing in this game, 4.7 yards per rush for a team that cannot run. Has not been able to run all season. It's been the Kenny Pickett show. This was shocking to me. This was one of the more shocking results of the day because I don't know what to make of it. Larry said it's nice to see the ACC having competition. I don't know that Pitt's got any competition right now. Like either Pitt is really good or Virginia Tech is awful, and I don't know which one it is. You got a thought on Fuente? Like is this the last rodeo?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so. All right, I got a couple of also rands here. All right, so I want to talk for a couple of minutes, and I want your opinion here. Louisiana Monroe 31, Liberty 28. And Malik Willis had 3 interceptions. I don't know what is going on with Hugh Freeze in this because this is a game that they were favored by almost, I think, 33 points at kick. ULM is now 3-3. Very impressive. They won with a backup quarterback because Rich Rodriguez's son is the starting quarterback, and he has been out for multiple weeks now because he was hospitalized in the middle of a game a couple of weeks ago. And this is really good for Terry Bowden and for Rich Rodriguez. But, man, props to Louisiana Monroe they are not nearly as bad as everybody assumed that they would be. But two, Liberty, this was supposed to be, another crowning season after a big season last year. I don't know that this necessarily hurts Hugh Freeze long term as far as like trying to get other jobs and whatnot. But I don't know what to make of this team anymore. You got any ideas?
No, I mean I can't explain it. I don't know.
It's chaos. Like it's just this entire season. It's just been chaos. Do you want to hit Cincy, UCF, or UTEP?
No.
Hitting 6 wins?
No.
There were a few other ones here. Iowa State, North Carolina. Any of those? Anything else that drives you at this point?
Nope.
This wasn't a big weekend. So Oregon.
It was a big weekend. We just talked for an hour and a half. Yeah, it was a big weekend. A lot of shit happened. We talked about it already.
All right. Then let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. An hour and 5 minutes in. This is the shortest one we have done in quite some time. There were big things this weekend for sure. Next weekend is, I'm sure, going to be absolutely insane because there's not like that gargantuan matchup. I don't even know where game day is going to go next week. Got no idea. Likely a D2 school or a FCS school, something like that. So we'll see. But let's wrap this thing up. Go to winningcureseverything.com. We appreciate everybody that jumped into the chat. You guys are fantastic. We do this every Sunday morning. And, of course, we have the show on Wednesday and Friday mornings. So make sure and subscribe to the podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. You can also find the show on Twitter, etc. So go to winningcureseverything.com. That'll be your one-stop shop to find it all. The show is brought to you every single week by BetUS, where the game begins. You can sign up using the promo code NCAAF2021. And you will get a 125% deposit bonus up to $2,500. Chris hosts a show for Sportsbook Review. I host a show for BetUS. The links are in the description for both of those, so make sure that you sign up. Don't miss a single thing. And, brother, anything else you want to hit on?
That's it, bro.
No Go Sox or anything?
No, let's go.
They look good the other night.
We don't play the game.
I know not today. So we got NFL today. All right, gentlemen. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for those that jumped in the chat. Chris, thank you for the time, of course. And yeah, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And hopefully all of your tickets cash this week. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.